It starts as a glitch, a subtle hiccup in the matrix of your daily routine. You glance at the microwave. 11:11. You buy a coffee, and the change is $11.11. You drive home, and the license plate in front of you reads 111. The first time, you ignore it. The second time, you chuckle. But by the third time, the hair on the back of your neck stands up. A strange, electric feeling washes over you, a mix of confusion and recognition. It feels like someone or something is trying to get your attention. You try to tell your friends, but you stop yourself because you know how it sounds. You sound crazy. You sound like you're grasping at straws. But deep down, in the quietest part of your gut, you know you aren't imagining this. You are being followed, not by a person, but by a pattern. Here is the hard truth that might change how you see reality forever. What if I told you that feeling of being followed isn't paranoia? What if it's actually the beginning of a conversation? We are going to dismantle the idea of coincidence. We are going to look at the mathematics of chance, the psychology of Carl Jung, and the ancient language of archetypes to understand why these symbols are appearing in your life right now. Because they aren't just random pixels in the simulation. They are breadcrumbs, and if you learn how to read them, they lead somewhere specific. Let's look at the mechanism of this phenomenon. When you see that recurring number, or that specific animal, maybe a hawk that circles your yard every time you think about quitting your job, or a dragonfly that lands on your hand the day a relative passes away, your brain immediately tries to debunk it. It's a survival mechanism. Your frontal cortex shouts, "It's just probability." It's the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. That's the psychological term for when you learn a new word and suddenly start seeing it everywhere. Your brain is simply priming itself to notice a specific pattern. And sure, that explains the mechanics of sight, but it completely fails to explain the mechanics of feeling. It doesn't explain the timing. It doesn't explain the profound emotional resonance that hits you like a physical blow when these moments happen. This is where we have to leave standard psychology behind and enter the realm of the mystics and the mavericks. We have to talk about Carl Jung. Jung wasn't just a psychologist. He was a cartographer of the soul. He coined a term for this, synchronicity. He defined it as a causal connecting principle. That is a fancy way of saying that two things happen at the same time, and a causal internal thought and an external event that have no physical cause linking them, yet they share a massive, undeniable weight of meaning. It's the universe winking at you. Jung believed that when you experience this, the barrier between your little, isolated ego and the massive, collective unconscious is thinning. The window is opening. You aren't just observing the world anymore. The world is responding to you. So, why is this happening now? Why not 5 years ago? Why not 10? The appearance of these recurring symbols is almost always a symptom of a shift in frequency. Think of your consciousness like a radio. For most of your life, you've been tuned to the station of survival. You're worried about rent, your commute, what to eat for dinner. It's all static and noise, but something in you has changed. Maybe you've started meditating, or maybe you're going through a massive crisis, a breakup, a career collapse, a grief that ripped you open. In those moments, the dial turns. You are tuning in to a subtler frequency. You are learning a new language. At first, it sounds like gibberish, just noise. But then, you start to pick out nouns, verbs, sentences. The universe is shouting at you, and for the first time, you have the ears to hear it. This usually happens for one of three reasons. 1. You asked for it. You might not remember, but at some point, you sent out a distress signal, a silent scream for help. The symbols are the answer. 2. You are at a crossroads. The universe tends to get loud when you are about to make a mistake or when you need the courage to take a leap. And 3. You are waking up. Your internal reality is expanding, so your external reality has to warp to match it. But how do you actually read the message? You can't just stare at a license plate and hope for enlightenment. You need a decoder ring. While meanings are deeply personal, humanity has shared a few universal archetypes for thousands of years. Let's look at 3 of the big ones. First, the lotus. If you keep seeing this flower or images of it, stop and look at your life. The lotus is the master of paradox. It is the most beautiful flower that grows in the most disgusting environment. It roots itself in mud, in muck, in the decomposing decay of the riverbed. It needs the filth to survive. If you are seeing the lotus, the message is likely about your current struggle. It is the universe telling you that the pain you are feeling, the mud you are stuck in, isn't a trap. It is fuel. You are being asked to transmute your suffering into wisdom. You are about to bloom, but you have to respect the mud first. Then there is the tree of life. You see this in Celtic knots, in biology textbooks, in family crests, roots digging down, branches reaching up. This is a command to balance. We often get so obsessed with spiritual growth, the branches, that we forget to pay your bills and wash the dishes, the roots. If the tree appears, you might be too untethered. You need to ground yourself, or, conversely, you are too stuck in the material world and need to remember you are a spiritual being. It is a call for equilibrium. And the infinity sign, the figure 8, the Mobius strip, it's mathematical, yet it's mystical. It represents the collapse of time. No beginning, no end. If this loops into your life, it is often a reassurance during a time of loss. It is a reminder that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. It tells you that the end of a chapter is not the end of the book. It's a promise of continuity. But here is the catch. You can memorize every symbol in the history of human folklore, and you will still miss the point if you don't contextualize it to your life. A wolf might mean danger to a sheep farmer, but it might mean freedom to a woman feeling trapped in a corporate job. You need to build your own Rosetta Stone. You need to become a forensic analyst of your own existence. Here's the protocol. You need to catch the data before your logical brain wipes it. The moment you see the sign, the hawk, the number, the song, you need to freeze. Do not just log the object, log the context. This is where everyone fails. They write down, I saw a butterfly. Useless. You need to write down, I saw a blue butterfly at 2 p.m., exactly 3 seconds after I thought about calling my ex. That is the data point. The correlation between the internal thought and the external event is the message. Ask yourself, what was the visceral emotion I felt the microsecond before I analyzed it? Was it dread? Was it relief? Was it a sudden, inexplicable joy? That split-second emotion is your intuition screaming the translation. If you do this for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, you will stop seeing coincidences. You will start seeing a map. You will realize that the universe has a distinct personality, a sense of humor, and a specific way of talking to you. Because here is the bottom line. The universe is not a cold, dead void. It is a living, breathing, responsive field of intelligence. And you are not an accident within it. You are in a constant, dynamic dialogue with it. The signs are there to remind you that you are not walking this path alone. You are being guided. You are being watched over, and you are being loved. The phone is ringing. The only question left is, are you going to pick it up?